Hi Melita Cadets, it's me, Second Lieutenant Dryden from Bossier 249 Air Cadets. Hope you had a good week. I hope you had an opportunity to practice some of the things about the introduction to the speech, the grabber that we talked about last time. So what I'd like you to do now is I'm going to get you to pause this playback right away here, and I'm going to get you to spend some time sharing with the other cadets some of the grabbers that you put together over the past week for various things that were going on in your life. So press pause now, and we will get back to you in a minute. Okay, good. I hope that went well, and I hope you did okay, and that you got some good ideas from some of your fellow cadets, things that you might want to incorporate or styles that you might want to use if you were to do other speeches in the future, and that you can really master the technique of the grabber during the introduction to your speech. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with our speech development here and the process. Now, you would think that the logical thing to do would be to talk about the body of the speech, which would make sense to me, but we're actually going to forget about that today. What we're going to talk about instead is the conclusion. I'm going to skip over the body at the moment here, only because the body is just the information that you're giving your audience here. So we're going to get back to that a little bit later, but what I want you to do right now, or the mastery that I want you to have, is of the introduction and today of the conclusion, which is the summary or the wrap-up. Now, the conclusion, obviously, because it's the conclusion, means that it comes at the end of your speech. Now, it's not just a matter of getting to the end of your speech and saying, that's it, I'm done, thanks, see you later, hope I win the contest. What it is a summary or a wrap-up of everything you've already talked about. And you're going to wrap it up and condense it down to just a couple of sentences, and that will be the summary of everything you talked about, and that's how the people that are watching your speech will understand that we have come to the end of our discussion. Okay, so the conclusion obviously is a summarization of everything that you have talked about thus far in your speech. Let's wrap it up. So just by way of a couple of examples, you'll remember in the last video I talked about I did introductions for two different topics. One was my dogs and the other one was why I like Christmas Eve. So I think what we'll do is I'll just give you a couple of samples that I came up with here about the conclusion that I would put on those speeches and how I would wrap that up. So the one about my dogs. Okay, I got two big golden retriever dogs, and let's assume that I've done my introduction and I've done my speech and I've told you all about them and why I love these dogs and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Now I have to summarize it all up. So I can come down to a final two sentences where I might do something like, As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, these two animals, well, mathematically are not that intelligent, because yes, they do only have a couple of brain cells between them, are two amazing creatures full of unconditional love and adoration for everything I do. Every part of me is a miracle to them, and that's quite amazing. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is why I love my dogs. So I guess that finishes it off a little bit better, and they certainly get a sense by the end of that I'm finished talking about my dogs and my speech is done, and they can give me a standing ovation and high scores and send me off to competitions across Canada and all that good stuff. A much better conclusion than just saying, yeah, so I like my dogs and they're pretty cool and I'm done, thanks. So again, it's kind of a mini grabber at the end. It's to summarize what you just finished talking about. The other topic that I had done an intro for last week was why I like Christmas Eve. So, sitting on the edge of the stairs, waiting for Santa to come, the wind is blowing, yeah, so on and so forth. So now let's assume that I've done my entire speech, and now here I am ready to wrap it up at the end of it. So I might do something to the effect of, and finally, at the end of all this anticipation, I've had far less sleep than I needed to. I've been awake and trembly and excited for hours and hours on end. Drifted off, woken up in a start before the sun even rises. I've got my presents. I've surrounded by my family and by the debris of Christmas paper and boxes everywhere. Presents, everything a little kid could want that would provide him with the best possible memories ever of a wonderful Christmas. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why I love Christmas and Christmas Eve so much. Thank you. See, so that's a little bit better than saying, yeah, I got lots of awesome stuff and it was pretty cool and yeah, I like Christmas and thanks and yeah. So there's kind of, again, that mini grabber for and the summarization of what we just finished talking about. So you'll remember that I'd given you these assignments to talk about the school bus or Nelson Mandela's effect on history. Now what I want you to do is I'm going to get you to pause the video here for a few moments, and I'm going to get you to ponder in your head, if you had to do one of those two speeches, and yes, you've done the introduction, you've done the body, how would you summarize and wrap that up at the end to leave the people with a full appreciation of all the information that you've just shared with them? So I'm going to get you to pause now, have that discussion with yourself and with each other there, and share some ideas and thoughts, and then come back. See you in a few minutes. Okay, good. I hope that went well for you, and you're feeling pretty good about doing the conclusion of a speech, and you got some good ideas from each other. That's excellent. So now the last thing we're going to do in this session, before I let you go for the week, is I want you to share with each other the prepared speech topic that you're going to be working on, or that you've already started working on perhaps. And what I want you to tell each other there is why you've picked that topic and what you've done or what you've learned about it so far. And for each of these topics, what I want you to be thinking about as you're writing these speeches, because now is the time to start writing them, is three things. Okay, on any of those given 8 topics that you're allowed to choose from for the speech competition, the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are the facts? So I want you to be able to spell out some of the facts and points of interest and just general information about that topic. That's the first point. The second point is going to be, what's the significance of that event or person or situation or whatever it is that your speech is talking about? What's significant about that? The third thing that I want you to be able to discuss and share, and these are things that are going to be included in your speech and will make your speech that much better and more relevant and more interesting for the people that are judging it. The third part is going to be is, what is the significance of that person, place, thing, event, whatever it is you're talking about? What's the significance of it for me as a cadet? So is it making you a better person? Is it making you motivating you to inspiring you to be a better person, to reach for the stars, to be a better person? Whatever it is, what are you personally taking away from that speech or that lesson that you've learned from this person, place, or thing, whatever it is you're talking about? So I want you to take a little bit of time, pause the video here, and have that discussion with each other, and I want you to make sure that you have a really good sense for what it is that you're writing about. Okay, so we'll talk to you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so I hope you had some good ideas, you shared some good information with each other, and you're well on your way to preparing your speech, your prepared speech for this competition. So, what I want you to do, this is your assignment for next week, is I want you to continue to gather information and facts and figure, go online, go to school, read a book, talk to people, whatever it is, to get information about your topic. The other thing that I want you to do to prepare for next week is, now is the time to start writing the grabber, the introduction for your speech. I want you to start putting that together. Be prepared to share it next week. Okay, you have yourself an awesome week, and we will see you next time.